we are facing a major problem. There'll be a shortage of 40 million highly skilled workers by the end of 2030. Thankfully, there's a simple, straightforward solution to it. Women. Gender equality does matter, as every organization needs an assortment of knowledge and skills. This is a multifaceted problem, and we need to analyze it from all the perspectives. In India, we have these Bollywood movies. I don't know how many of you are familiar with those. These are like the Hollywood musical movies, in which the colleges are depicted to be a place full of fun, dance, and drama, and an equal number of boys and girls. And I land here in my engineering college. It's an old red building in one of the smelly parts of Delhi, and I see men and monkeys. I'm serious. I could sense the beady eyes following me. They even stole my food and engineering drawings. I mean, the monkeys. Women were a scarce resource, even lesser than 5% of the total population. We used to move around in groups to feel safe and protected. We couldn't really skip any of the classes. But it had a few merits as well. I won the mixed double table tennis championship consecutively for 3 years. I participated in all the co-curricular activities, be it singing, choreography, dramatics, fashion shows. Yes, fashion shows. Even I can't believe it. I had no interest in machinery and electric circuits, so I decided to study management. I traveled about 2,500 kilometers away from my home to the southern part of India, and I find myself alone amidst a bunch of 40 very competitive boys. So why can't we have more women in professional courses? In US and Europe, we do have an equal gender ratio in most of the courses, but even here, for technical and engineering courses, we hardly have any women. In fact, I was just talking to one of my colleagues, and she said she was the only mechanical engineer in her batch, and she studied in US. There's a much more noticeable difference in Asia, in countries like China, Japan, India. In some of the management institutes, to make the admission criteria more gender inclusive, they've started adding factors like consistency in scores, because girls tend to do well in their high school, social skills, emotional and maturity factor, and so on. And this has actually increased the percentage of women to 30%, more than 30% in these institutes. By simple math, more women in colleges equals more women in workforce? Well, not exactly. It just means more women available with the required qualifications. I've been working in human resources since 1999, and there's a highly gender skewed ratio at all the levels in the organization, be it information technology, networking, biotech, or the energy sector. Men choose men over women for hiring and promotions because we tend to choose someone who is similar to us. Men don't realize that they're discriminating against women. In an interviewing process, if the candidate is a woman, we start thinking, if we can't ask in some of the cultures, when is she going to get married? If she's married, when is she going to start a family? These questions are never considered if the candidate is a man. It doesn't end here. Even when a woman starts working in the organization, she has to face a lot of challenges and hurdles. One of my friends, she works in a very well-known MNC, and I was actually surprised to hear this, but she narrated this very interesting experience to me. She was the only women member in the leadership team. She's a director level position. And all the times her manager used to ask her to actually organize all the events, all the parties for the team. He didn't think he was being unfair until she actually approached him and told him so. He was very surprised, as he thought he was very gender sensitive because he was the father of 2 daughters. He didn't realize that he was coming from a stereotype that the role of women is to nurture, cook, and serve food. I worked with many managers. I can easily identify the worst and the best. I'm sure most of you can do the same. But the important fact is that both were women managers. One gave me no space. She was not interested in developing my professional competencies. While the other manager gave me a lot of freedom, built my confidence by giving me challenging assignments, and helped me develop my leadership competencies. One of my colleagues actually told me that she heard a women leader comment, "I have reached this position after a lot of struggle. So why should I help other women? Let them struggle." The typical queen bee syndrome. So not just men, but even women hinder the progress for women. So there needs to be a mind shift for both men and women. And we can actually achieve this if we have more men with a mindset like my father. We are 4 sisters, and the society looked at him sympathetically because having a son is considered a matter of pride in India and other patriarchal societies as well. My father had one ambition: to educate his daughters and make them stand on their own feet. He was very strict and a disciplinarian. I can still remember in my younger days, all I heard was study, study, and study. I went to an all-girls school in a very well-protected environment, and the only expectation from me was that I top my class every year. Coming second was unacceptable. So playtime was limited, TV time was again limited. So much so that when we were playing downstairs in the evening and I saw my father coming from the office, I used to run upstairs, sit in my room with open books. I hated it back then. But now I realize he did it for our own good. He made all of us self-sufficient, professional, and independent women. If organizations were to do the same, encouraging women, identifying women talent, and helping them develop their leadership competencies, we will be breaking the glass ceiling, which simply means that women get stuck either at the junior levels or the middle management levels, and they are not able to reach the leadership levels. So how come we have so many women government heads who have been strong leaders? To name a few: Indira Gandhi, Margaret Thatcher, Cory Aquino, Isabel Perón, Angela Merkel, Golda Meir, Dilma Rousseff, Doris Leuthard, Michelle Bachelet, and many more. Why can't we have the same in the corporate world? It's a missed opportunity. Actually, the issue of reducing the gender gap requires persistent effort. We need to analyze this complex problem from all the angles, be it education of women in all the courses, entry into organizations, and equal opportunity for leadership positions. From leadership, I remember one of my friends narrating an incident that he was in a board meeting and there was only one women board member. And she actually commented, "How can we have progress and innovation in our company when the only board members are pale, stale, and very male. She said it, I didn't. In AES, what do you think would be the gender ratio? 18.5%, which is actually very low. If we look at the energy sector, it's the same dismal percentage of 19%. Energy sector has its own challenges. So we need to increase the women coming to more technical courses. Can we partner with the technical institutes and design courses with them, and then partner with them to recruit more women in AES? Actually, I want to urge both my women and men colleagues to refer more friends to AES. Some of the companies are having very interesting ideas and programs to enhance gender diversity. Some of the organizations to mitigate gender biases are using blind hiring. The recruiter hides the gender information from their resumes, and this brings more women to the interviewing table. When the managers interview more women managers and they realize that they have an equal potential as women, they become more open to interviewing and hiring women managers. One of the organizations who leads in gender diversity is Accenture. They have a three-pronged approach. Awareness, diversity awareness, to educate people the benefits of a diverse team, diversity management, to how to manage diverse teams, and professional development to enable women to develop competencies for success. And this actually has increased the number of women to 90,000 in Accenture, which is 36% of the workforce. 19% of the leadership positions are women. 40% of the new hires are women, and 3 out of 10 board directors are women. Another organization, Times Warner, includes the gender diversity factor to the performance objectives of the managers, which is actually linked directly to the performance bonus. So gender equality is not just the right thing to do, but the smart thing to do. And if we all do our bit, we can have engineering colleges with men and women instead of men and monkeys. Thank you.